Here's Heppenstall in his latter years with Margaret, looking at a newly issued version of his book. So you get the flavour of what's happening in the latter years of his life. In 1975, Heppenstall retired up to Carmel, not to Carmel itself properly, that quaint little art village on the coast, but to Carmel Highlands, just about 5 miles south of Carmel, a lovely house that he built over a period of years, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. He talked of his $1 million view and just delighted in having people come and stay with him. Heppenstall and Margaret, Ted and Margaret, were very gregarious folk. They loved having people come to their home. Students galore would come during his years at the seminary, during his years at La Sierra, and even in retirement. They enjoyed having students and church workers come and stay with them, enjoy their $1 million view. It was during this time while he's up in Carmel Highlands that Glacier view occurred. Heppenstall was well and truly retired by now, and he didn't receive an invitation, but Des Ford asked if he might be extended an invitation, and Heppenstall was involved in getting a role at Glacier View. It turned out to be an immense role, unexpectedly. And this is about how he looked in 1980. Heppenstall asked Des a question midway through it was at Heppenstall's initiative that they gave Des Ford an opportunity to actually speak. If it hadn't been for Heppenstall, Ford wouldn't have spoken at Glacier View. They were just going to read his manuscript, or at least they were going to discuss the ideas coming out of his manuscript. But Heppenstall insisted that he be given the opportunity to speak. Midway during the conference, Heppenstall asked him a question. Des misunderstood it. Wilson used the occasion, piggybacking on Des's response, to really go after Ford in a highly antagonistic, negative way that denigrated Ford's personality and his manner of doing theology. So Heppenstall played a significant role in Glacier View, not only because he had been a mentor for Ford during many years. Heppenstall was a teacher for Ford, but because of the conflict that arose around his question. Here's a picture of Keith Parmenter, who was absolutely insistent that Heppenstall be dealt with at Glacier View, and Neil Wilson, of course, who was the one in charge of everything. After that conference, there was another conflict between Heppenstall and Ralph Larson over the nature of Christ. Heppenstall got to read this manuscript before it was published, and it wasn't published by the Adventist Church. Southern Publishing had been approached, but he published it privately. Well, I must finish here. We've gone well over time. Sorry, Lauren. I'm finishing right now. But to indicate how the extent of Heppenstall's influence on the church, these were some of the grateful who sat in his classes, who had been mentored by him, shaped by him. Bill Johnson, editor of the Review. Fritz Guy, leading theologian, president of La Sierra University. Jan Paulson, who did his master's degree with Heppenstall and was shaped hugely, he says, by Heppenstall's teaching, his approach, his theology. Beatrice Neal at Union College, shaped and moulded by Heppenstall. Morris Venden, who continued the righteousness by faith emphasis. Lou Venden, who was a good friend of Heppenstall's and whom Heppenstall had helped get to Loma Linda, into the Loma Linda pulpit. Heppenstall was one who took an interest in his students and wanted to find opportunities for them in the work, and then mentored them even as they moved into those opportunities. That was the kind of person he was. He was remembered as the one who said constantly, it's dangerous to think, but it's more dangerous not to think.